Perhaps the most unexpected effect of the economic reforms in China was the complete restructuring of how public goods, especially welfare, were provided for China's citizens. When economic reforms began in the late 1970s, most welfare was provided for Chinese citizens through their place of work, whether that was the factory, the government office in urban China, or through the rural collectives in the countryside. However, once reform started in the countryside, the economic system moved back to a household-based system of accounting, which meant effectively the collective structures for providing welfare all but collapsed. You saw insurance rates, for example, for health for rural citizens dropping from perhaps 80% coverage at the deepest point, maybe down to 3 to 5%. In the mid-1990s, as the economic reforms began to sweep through the urban environment, 50 million people were laid off from state-owned enterprises, and importantly, the enterprises, to become profitable, had to shift the social welfare burdens onto underfunded local governments. And this really forms the core question of looking at the book around providing public goods in a transitional China. How has the Chinese government dealt with this problem, and how has it begun to rebuild the social welfare structures? This also raises interesting questions about what does citizenship mean in contemporary China. How do you deal with a situation, especially when you claim to be a socialist state, if you give welfare benefits, sometimes significant welfare benefits, to some of your citizens, for example, government employees or those in protected industries, but you deny those to citizens in the countryside, for example? So this book looks at these questions, how the welfare system has been rebuilt, how the government is now trying to provide more funds, more access to social services through local governments, and also begins to look at the kinds of de facto partnerships that are emerging with organizations in civil society taking on a much greater role in welfare than in the past.